Good morning, boys and girls. It's Friday. You have almost made it through your second week of online learning, and today is Show Your School Spirit Day. So I've got my Eastridge Elementary shirt on. I promise the words are not backwards. They're just showing up backwards on here. But I am so proud of my school. I'm so proud to be a teacher at Eastridge Elementary, and I'm so glad to be your teacher. I miss each of you dearly, and I mean that sincerely. I mean, it is a little bit nice to wake up later, drink my coffee out of a coffee mug instead of in my Yeti, but it doesn't make up for the fact that I miss seeing your smiling faces and giving you hugs in the morning and having you come to my table and tell me stories from home, all those things. I miss you all so much. You all are like my children to me, and I love you dearly. I promise that I love you so much, and I cannot wait to see you soon. So today, here we go. I received 8 responses to my exit slip. So each day we're getting a little bit higher, a little bit higher, a little bit higher. I think we started with 4, then went to 6, then we went to 8. If we keep that pattern up, then hopefully I will have 10 responses after this one, and you have the whole weekend to get it done. So by Monday, I would love to have 10 responses so that I can do my TikTok dance. If you have a recommendation for which one you think I should do, please send me a message on Class Dojo. Don't make it one that's too complicated though, because y'all, I'm not coordinated or a good dancer. So make it simple. I'll have to teach myself on YouTube, and we'll see what happens. So hopefully we get 10 responses today from our activity. Yesterday, I got new people responding. It made my teacher heart so happy. There were some people who have not done any reading work who turned in assignments. So that makes me so happy. However, if you are one of those people who just turned it in yesterday for the first time, in order for you to complete your activity today, you will need to go back and either watch lessons, let me count, what number would that be? 5, 6, and 7, or go back and read these texts, okay? So lesson 8, we read the story Helping in a Hurricane. Lesson 7, we read in the Journeys textbook the story Recovering from Katrina. So if you do need to go back and read that, it is on page 334 of the Journeys textbook. So you can go back to that. And the story Hurricanes, Earth's Mightiest Storms, that is page 322. So you'll need to go back and read that, because you need to have the information in order for us to reach our learning target today, which is using text evidence from multiple sources, meaning not just one text, this time not just 2 texts, but actually 3 different texts to answer a writing prompt. So we're going to do an activity today where we take information from our fiction story, Helping in a Hurricane, and both of our nonfiction passages, Recovering from Katrina and Hurricanes, and we will use information in all 3 of those passages to help us answer a writing prompt. But before we move on, I want to look at yesterday's exit slip, and I was really impressed with the work that I received. I saw quotes with text evidence. I mean, it was amazing. I can't call out one person today, or even 2. I would have to call out all 8 of you, because all 8 responses I got were amazing, I believe. Let's see if I can remember who the 8 people were. I had Kaylin, Alyssa, Cash, Amelia, Colin. Oh, this is bad. I'm not going to be able. Jackson, he was the first one. There's 2 more. If I'm not giving you a shout out, I apologize. I'm trying to go from my memory. I don't have it in front of me. So you know who you are. Thanks for doing your work. All right, so let's check out our answers. First of all, we had the first word was evacuate. The word evacuate means to leave. If you evacuate an area, you have to leave it and go somewhere else that's safer. Awesome. The second question was, what were pieces of text evidence that showed her family was really beginning to get worried? So it was that piece of text evidence where her mom said, "Come on, Brianne, move a little faster, please." Her mom pleaded. When you plead, you're kind of begging someone. So she's like, "Speed it up." That shows she's feeling worried because she's trying to get them to leave quickly. That would make me feel nervous if my mom was trying to get me to leave quickly, because if moms are rushing, there must be some danger. And then also her family was a little bit worried. I don't know if anyone got this one. This one was a little bit trickier. Her dad was driving very slowly on the road because it was raining so hard. He had to drive really, really slowly to stay safe. Okay. The next question was about, when did she really begin to take the storm serious? Because at first she was doing a crossword puzzle and she ignored the news. Obviously, she wasn't moving very quickly to leave the house. Her parents were having to rush her along. She just thought, it's just a storm. But it says in the text, Brienne finally paid attention to the severity of the situation, and she watched the news in shock as it narrated the destruction of places she loved. So she really started to pay attention when the places she loved were in danger. When places and parks and locations she normally goes to are being destroyed or at risk of being destroyed, that made her pay attention. All right, the next one said choose a trait word and 2 pieces of text evidence to show that her dad and Brienne have these traits. I believe most everyone used the word helpful, which was kind of the one I was thinking about. Helpful or caring. And how were they helpful and caring? Well, they gathered anything that could be saved for those who lost homes. They gave out sandwiches. They gave out drinks to people. Also, they went and visited the people. That shows that they're helpful and caring. All right, and then last, do you believe her fundraiser was a success, and how do you know? Yes, it was very successful. It said friends and family members had flooded, that means a lot of people, had flooded the makeshift gallery, attracting curious passersby. Brienne tried to keep count of the number of guests who walked through the doors, but she soon lost count. That means there were so many people she couldn't even count. Counting the money wouldn't help, since some visitors paid more than the entrance fee. So not only were there a lot of people paid more money than they were supposed to. They only needed to pay $5 to enter, and they paid more. So it was successful because there was a lot of people, and successful because she raised a lot of money. So like I said, amazing responses. Thank you for taking the time to fill those in and to complete our lesson. So let's hop into what we're doing today. Today we're going to be doing some writing, and we are going to be answering this prompt. I've told you about a gajillion times this year that when you are answering a writing prompt, you need to make sure you understand the question. If you don't answer the question, we have a problem. So here's the question. It says, during this week, you have read 3 passages about hurricanes. Today, you will write 2 paragraphs. So I'm not having you write an essay yet. Last week we wrote 1 paragraph. Today we're writing 2, okay? We're building up to our essay writing. So today you're going to write 2 paragraphs. 1 paragraph describing the causes of hurricanes, and 1 paragraph describing the effects of hurricanes. Use information from all 3 passages when writing your paragraphs. So for our lesson today, we're going to work on a graphic organizer together to get the text evidence for both paragraphs. Then we're going to write the causes paragraph together. Your exit ticket will be to write the effects paragraph and take a picture of that and send it to me. That's all I'm looking for, the paragraph with effects. Okay, so we have this graphic organizer. I'm going to take this out of full screen so that you guys can see, and I'm going to type. Okay, so the causes. Remember, a cause is why something happens. So we're looking for why hurricanes happen. Think about the 3 texts we read. Helping in a hurricane, recovering from Katrina, and hurricanes, Earth's mightiest storms. Which one of those 3 texts really had information about the causes or why hurricanes happen or how they form? It's going to be the very first text we read this week, Hurricanes, Earth's mightiest storms. So this is the text we're going to use to help us write about the causes. So if you go ahead and turn to your Journeys book, I bet you already have some thoughts about this because we kind of summarized the section about causes. So you probably are already realizing the things we need to write. So if you turn to page 322 and 323, what are some pieces of text evidence that we could put in our graphic organizer that talk about the causes? Now remember, our graphic organizer is not for us to write complete sentences. It's just for us, I have bullet points, we're just putting notes, thoughts. things that will help us write our paragraph. So I want you to hit pause on my video. I want you to do the work and to scan through pages 322, 323, 324, and see if you can find some notes that we could include in our graphic organizer for causes. If you want to jot them down on your own paper, great. Once you've done that, hit play, and then I'm going to fill in the ones that I found. Okay, so hit pause, fill them in. All right, so hopefully you have some causes written in. I am now going to fill in what I found in the text as causes. So first of all, there are, here we go, low pressure areas over warm oceans. Okay, that's on page 322. It's actually the last sentence. So what's a cause? There's a low pressure area. It's over a warm ocean. Remember, they called them tropical. Okay, so we could either put tropical oceans or warm oceans. Okay, so what happens? We've got the low pressure areas over the warm tropical oceans, and then what starts happening? This is where we look at page 323. What happens? The warm, moist air goes up. Okay. Okay, so the warm, moist air rises, and then what happens to it? Then it starts to cool and form what? The clouds, okay? Excuse my typing. The air cools or condenses and forms clouds. There's another cause. So we've got this low pressure area. It's over the warm ocean. The warm air rises, and as it rises, it cools and spreads out, and it forms the clouds. So now we've got clouds, and then what else happens? This is where we look on page 324. Now we've got these clouds, and then what do the clouds start doing? They start rotating, okay? The storm starts rotating, okay? Anything else we need to add? I'm scanning back through. We kind of might want to add, it continues to grow. This process continues, storm grows. So ladies and gentlemen, this is not a paragraph, what I've written. These are just some notes. As I was scanning through these pages, these were the main important points I wanted to jot down. They should look familiar to you because of the lesson we did on Monday where we were summarizing the section. We were jotting down the important information. Notice I did that first so you would already have this knowledge in your head. Sometimes I can be smart, y'all. Sometimes I can be smart. So you should already have this information written down on your page where you did your summary, but I wanted to come back to it to help us write our paragraph. So let's see if we've got all the information we need. So what causes a hurricane? Low pressure areas over warm tropical oceans. The warm, moist air rises. The air cools, condenses, forms clouds. Then it keeps going, so it keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then it starts rotating, okay? And eventually it will become a hurricane. Yeah, that seems like the most important things. If I'm missing anything, send me a message because you know sometimes I miss things. If you think I'm missing an important part of causes, let me know. All right, effects of a hurricane. So what happens as a result of hurricanes? This is where we're going to use information from Recovering from Katrina and our fiction story, Helping in a Hurricane. So the causes paragraph is really all information from our scientific text about hurricanes. The effects we're going to find in those other two passages. So would you just do me a favor and hit pause and do some of the work on your own? Before I continue to fill in my graphic organizer, I do want you to take some struggle time on your own. I want you to go back to the story Recovering from Katrina, which is found on page 334. I want you to kind of scan and jot down some of the effects or things that happen as a result of the hurricane. Now, I know the story Helping in a Hurricane I have here on my slides, so you can't really go back and read that. However, I bet you can remember some of the effects. All right, so let's go, hit pause. I'll do the work too. We'll come back together and we'll fill in our graphic organizer. All right, here we go. So, effects of a hurricane. I'm first looking at the text recovering from Katrina. And here's some of the things I found. Flooding, okay? The hurricane caused flooding because it had those storm surges. Remember those really big waves that came and flooded New Orleans. All right, what else did you see? Sometimes hurricanes can cause homelessness. And why do hurricanes cause homelessness? Why is homelessness an effect? Because homes are destroyed, right? So we've got flooding can occur, homelessness, we see that. What other effects would happen? Other buildings are destroyed. We have really just destruction in general. Okay, so why don't we just put destruction of businesses and cities? All right, what about in our story? This is kind of a small detail. Did you realize that it said that they would lose electricity? Let's see if I can find that page on my slides up here. Said, here we go. Where did it go? I have to remember what page it was on. Anyway, I'm not doing a good job finding this on the spot, but there was a part of the story where it said that they might lose electricity for a few days, and then they came back to their house after the storm and they opened the refrigerator and it was so stinky because the food inside of it had gone rotten. Oh, here it goes. The weather forecaster said that the majority of Manhattan would remain without electricity for a few days. So that's another effect of hurricanes is people can lose electricity. That happened to my family a lot. Our home never was destroyed during hurricanes, but we did lose electricity, which was a bummer. Okay, so we have flooding, homelessness, destruction of businesses and cities. You can lose electricity. And then what's the main effect that happened in both stories? What do people do? They try to rebuild. They try to recover. So people and agencies work together to recover or rebuild. That's another effect. That's a positive effect of hurricanes. Obviously, we don't want destruction. We don't want to have to rebuild because things have been destroyed, but it's a positive effect that people are coming together and working together, that people are having fundraisers like the girl in the story. People are joining things like the Red Cross and all these other organizations to help other people rebuild. So we now have several bullet points for both sides. Do you have to include every single piece of information in your paragraphs? No, you don't. This is just for us to get down all of our ideas so we have plenty of things to choose from when we write our paragraphs. So when we look at what we need on a good paragraph, this is the same checklist that I went over last week when we wrote about Hercules' Quest. You need a topic sentence telling somebody what your paragraph's going to be all about. If it needs a little bit of an introduction or information about the story so people aren't confused, that's where you put this. You need text evidence. I'm telling you need at least 2 pieces of text evidence in order to have a strong paragraph, okay? You can't just put 1 piece to prove your thinking. You really need at least 2, if not 3. These next 2 are the ones that people struggled with the most last week, okay? Your explanation. So once you put something from the text, you then need to explain it. So the text is information straight from the book, kind of like a green question. And then your explanation is what comes from your head. You tell me a little bit more about that text evidence from your own thinking. And then last but not least, don't forget your closing sentence. It just wraps up the paragraph in a nice way. Remember to use our transition words and phrases like, for example, to add on, in addition, in conclusion, finally, blah, 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 blah. You know them. And then last, conventions, making sure you've checked your spelling the best you can, capital letters, punctuation, your indenting, etc. All right, so we're going to be writing the paragraph of causes of hurricanes, okay? So this is where we're going to use this information over here in our graphic organizer that came from our story, Hurricanes, Earth's Mightiest Storms. And we're going to use these to write our paragraph about what causes a hurricane. All right, so you do not have to copy down this paragraph and write this. I just want you to follow along as I'm doing it so that you can use that to help you write your own paragraph about the effects. So I'm going to indent, because you can indent even on a computer, and I'm going to write my topic sentence. So what is my paragraph going to be completely about? Well, I'm going to be describing the causes of a hurricane. So that's really what my topic sentence is going to be about. Now, I'm going to tell people what a hurricane is, just to kind of give some background information. So we're going to say hurricanes have been called Earth's mightiest storms, because that's the title of the story. So I'm just copying that. Hurricanes have been called Earth's mightiest storms. And see if there's anything else I want to include from here, okay? Today we will be describing, go back there, describing how these storms are formed, okay? That tells people we're going to be writing about how they're formed or what causes them, okay? So this is going to be sort of sequential text structure, first, then next, after that, right? Because I'm telling how it forms, what causes it, and I'm going to be telling it in order. I'm not going to start with it rotates. That's the last step. I'm not going to start with clouds are formed. That's kind of in the middle. So I have to go in order and tell how it forms. So if we go back to our causes chart, we already did this. So we've got low pressure areas over warm tropical oceans. So let's put our text evidence. These storms form over low pressure, form in low pressure areas over warm tropical oceans. There we go. That's step one. Now we're going to go to step two. Next, first I need to explain it, okay? These low pressure areas have warm, moist air. There we go, I explained it a little bit. That's why they're formed in this place, because the storm needs warm, moist air. When you go back to the text, it even tells you on page 322, it says they feed on warm, moist air. They develop the same way, feeding on warm, moist air. So it's really important to know that there's warm, moist air. So these low pressure areas have warm, moist air. Next, the warm air rises and then cools, forming clouds. So there's my text evidence. That's where I got this one from. The warm, moist air rises, and I kind of combine these two bullet points and forms clouds. So I need to explain why that's important to the cause of a hurricane. Well, the clouds, what does it say on page 322? It says the clouds are the source of the storm's rain. So why are clouds important for a hurricane? Clouds are where the rain comes from, okay? The clouds give off the rain in the storm, okay? After that, there's some transition words. The process continues and the storm grows. So here we go. Let's go back and make sure what we're writing makes sense. Hurricanes have been called Earth's mightiest storms, and today we will be describing how these storms are formed. These storms form in low pressure areas over warm tropical oceans. These low pressure areas have warm, moist air. Next, the warm air rises and then cools, forming the clouds. The clouds give off the rain in the storm. After that, the process continues and the storm grows. Awesome. And then last but not least, finally, the large storm starts to rotate or spiral. That's our last step on here too. The storm starts rotating. Okay. So now we need a closing sentence about how now we have formed a hurricane. So we could say, After all of these steps have been completed, a hurricane may be formed. Now remember, if you went to the text and you read it, not all of the time do these form hurricanes. Sometimes it's just a big storm or a tropical storm, but it doesn't necessarily form into the gigantic hurricane. I wish that this would not format how it is doing that. Oh well, computers, what are you gonna do? You know, trying my best here. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I would like for you now to use the graphic organizer we created, which is this. I would like for you to use the paragraph we wrote together as a guide to help you write your paragraph, okay? So in our paragraph, although this looks a little janky because my computer is messing up, we have a topic sentence, we have text evidence, we explain some of our text evidence, we use transition words, we wrote in an organized structure, we have a closing sentence, we have a great paragraph. So use this paragraph about the causes to guide your paragraph about the effects, okay? Make sure you do all the things good writers need to do. And today, all I'm expecting from you is an exit slip, which is this paragraph. So I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions for me, please don't hesitate to message me or ask me. I would love to help you. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I will be talking to you all on Monday and hopefully dancing for you all on Monday with my crazy dance moves. So have a great weekend. See y'all later. Bye.